In the desolate expanse of a vast desert, a small child wanders aimlessly, sucking on a human finger. At the same time, Wyndham drives into the barren wilderness in search of the perfect spot to photograph a rare eclipse. Climbing a nearby rock formation, he prepares for hours, capturing breathtaking shots as the celestial event unfolds. Satisfied, Wyndham starts his return journey, only to come across a young boy sobbing under the slim shadow of a dying tree. Surprised and concerned, Wyndham questions the boy, discovering he's lost and separated from his family. Offering to help, Wyndham lifts the child, but he's shocked to notice his hands quickly becoming disgustingly grimy. The boy, however, seems uninterested in being rescued and heads deeper into the desert. Wyndham hesitates but follows, repeatedly trying to suggest they return to his car. Despite Wyndham's efforts, the boy remains silent. Hours later, the boy finally speaks, asking for a soda. Wyndham offers his water bottle, realizing there's no cell service in the area. Before he can react, the boy shoves Wyndham away, running off into the distance and flashing a mischievous grin. With his water spilled and his phone useless, Wyndham tries desperately to find his way back but only manages to get more lost. As darkness envelopes the desert, Wyndham stumbles upon an unsettling sound echoing through the night. Following it, he discovers a series of bottles dangling from branches and the haunting melody of a woman singing in a canyon. Venturing closer, he is astonished to see a house nestled below. Descending a precarious ladder, Wyndham knocks on the door, receiving no answer. Letting himself in, he meets Alina, a woman calmly cooking. When he asks for help, Alina, mysterious and reserved, denies having a phone but offers him food. Hungry for information more than sustenance, Wyndham drinks water while she silently eats his portion. That evening, Alina invites him to stay the night. Wyndham, still uneasy, watches as she casually changes clothes. Early the next morning, Wyndham steps outside, relieved to be alone, and notices an unusual painting on the canyon wall. He decides it's time to leave, but to his horror, the ladder has vanished. Alina, who's now fixing the roof, explains nonchalantly that sometimes people take the ladder, and it could be days before it returns. Frustrated, Wyndham insists on finding a way out, but the canyon walls are too steep, and his cries for help echo unanswered. Exhausted and defeated, he returns, allowing Alina to clean his dirt-covered clothes. That night, unsettling voices outside keep Wyndham awake. Searching for their source proves fruitless. The next day, he finds supplies in the house, like bandages and a hammer, which he uses to attempt climbing again. As he scales the rock, mocking voices of boys taunt him, and a pig's severed head suddenly crashes down, causing him to fall. Injured and in excruciating pain, Wyndham wakes with the hammer embedded in his leg. Alina appears, tending to his wound and dragging him inside, where he spends days in a feverish haze, hallucinating images of children lurking nearby. Alina continues her rituals, marking walls with her blood during her monthly bleeding. Once mobile, Wyndham tries to escape but discovers he can't climb with his limp. He begs Alina for help, but she explains he now belongs there and must endure. The boys above ridicule and spit at him, while Alina quietly eats, seemingly unaffected. Time passes, and Wyndham resigns to his new reality. Alina offers him men's clothes from a chest filled with garments, implying he's not the first. Wyndham helps plant seeds in the small fertile patch nearby. Occasionally, boxes filled with random items are tossed down, and Alina claims them swiftly, allowing Wyndham a bottle of whiskey from one such drop. Driven to despair, Wyndham turns to drinking. One night, he confronts Alina, accusing her of orchestrating his imprisonment. Alina tries to calm him, but Wyndham, drunk and desperate, asserts his masculinity, demanding respect. She responds by seducing him, though her indifference is palpable, and the boys' chants echo around them. Days turn into weeks, and Wyndham is shocked to see the crops he planted begin to flourish. While tending to them, a boy named Lepus appears, curious about farming. Wyndham eagerly shares his knowledge, and Lepus rewards him with candy, promising more in the future. Despite this budding relationship, Wyndham grows suspicious when he finds buried items, like a ring and keys, in the soil. At dinner, Wyndham asks Alina about an old photograph. She explains it's not her mother but the first mother, a founder figure of their cult-like existence. She then reveals she's pregnant, but Wyndham is horrified, accusing her of trapping him. In his rage, he refuses to accept the grim future she describes for their child. One morning, birds ravage the crops, and despite Wyndham's attempts to scare them off, the damage is done. Alina's singing haunts him at night, and a plane flies overhead, though Wyndham has given up hope of being rescued. Lepus returns, apologizing for not bringing soda. And Wyndham seizes the opportunity to confide in him. He tries to convince Lepus to escape with him and the unborn child. Lepus seems to agree but is dragged away by another boy. Alina overhears this conversation, but Wyndham's words seem to have moved her. Later, he shares stories of the outside world, from the concept of freedom to cheeseburgers, trying to convince her that a better life exists beyond the canyon. She's captivated by a video on his camera, laughing at music she's never heard before. Tragedy strikes when Lepus's body is found hanging above the canyon, and Alina, in grief and anger, blames Wyndham, imprisoning him in a cage. Months pass, and Wyndham loses hope, even when a hiker spots him. The boys kill the hiker before help can come, plunging Wyndham deeper into despair. Eventually, the boys descend to feed him a peach as a twisted act of mercy. A ritual follows, they dance around a fire, and Alina, now called Mother, breastfeeds one of the boys. Wyndham realizes the horrifying truth: he's part of a cycle, lured, used, and disposed of to sustain their twisted lineage. The fertile soil, he understands, is nourished by the remains of previous men. Desperate, Wyndham tries to charm Alina, promising to father more children and create a real family. She, however, insists he has no choice. As Alina goes into labor, Wyndham sees an opportunity to escape but hesitates when he hears his newborn daughter's cries. Drawn to the infant, he holds her, realizing she's destined to be the next mother. Alina, grateful, gives the child to the boys, who then cut Wyndham's throat. His body decays, nourishing the soil, while Alina adds his belongings to her collection, and the desert claims another victim.